West Africa's investment world. This podcast is brought to you by Daba, your most comprehensive platform for investing in African stocks, bonds, and managed funds. You can download the Daba app on your favorite Google and Apple app stores. And we're starting with some great news. The market is still moving upward. Yes, you heard right. Despite a few isolated declines, the overall trend is one of confidence and progress. Let's begin with the indexes. The BRVM Composite Index, which tracks all listed companies, inched higher this week, rising by 0.26% to close at 321.68 points. That may sound small, but remember, in finance, every upward step signals renewed investor confidence. What matters here is that the market is advancing, not retreating. The BRVM 30 Index, which groups the 30 leading stocks, did even better. It rose by 1.41% to settle at 158.71 points. As for the BRVM Prestige Index, which highlights the large-cap blue-chip companies, it gained 0.98% to reach 135.45 points. This shows that big-name companies are still attracting strong investor interest. For you as investors, this means diversified portfolios, especially those with large caps, performed well this week. It also reminds us that balancing your portfolio between small, mid, and large caps can help capture different growth dynamics. Now, let's look at trading activity. The total number of shares exchanged was 2,094. That's a decline of about 6.68% compared to the previous week. But here's where it gets interesting. The total value traded surged by 31.01%, reaching 4,513.1 billion francs CFA. What does this mean? It shows that even though fewer shares were exchanged in volume, the transactions involved higher value trades. This suggests renewed activity in larger, more valuable stocks. For investors, this is a clear sign that capital is returning to the market. Time for the week's champions. The textile sector stood out in a spectacular way. One company in this sector saw its stock soar by 20.5%, closing at 970 francs CFA. This rally came after its Q1 2025 results showed a 14% increase in revenue, significantly reduced operating losses, and most importantly, a net profit of 8.206 billion francs CFA, thanks to a sale and leaseback deal. Announcements like this restore investor confidence. They show that with the right strategy, a company can completely change its trajectory. For investors, the takeaway is that keeping an eye on quarterly earnings reports can reveal opportunities others may overlook. The second big performer came from the construction and materials sector. A stock there rose 16.40% to close at 815 francs CFA. And in third place, within the chemical sector, another stock gained 15.83% to reach 695 francs CFA. What do these three strong performances tell us? Investors reward companies with solid earnings or those riding favorable economic trends. For you, this underlines the importance of tracking entire sectors, not just individual names. Of course, not everything went smoothly. Some companies recorded significant losses. A major consumer goods company lost 28.58% this week, falling to 29,095 francs CFA. Why? Because the BRVM sanctioned the stock after judging it was overvalued. Investors quickly lost confidence. Other companies, including one in trade and another in banking, also dropped, with declines as sharp as 20.45%. For investors, these sharp corrections are a reminder of an essential truth. Chasing after a stock just because it's rising fast can be risky. Corrections can be brutal. That's why it's so important to base your investment decisions on fundamentals, not just speculation. Now let's turn to the bond market, a cornerstone for investors looking for steady income. Total bond market capitalization slipped slightly, down from 10,914 billion francs CFA to 10,913 billion. That's a marginal change of 0.1%. But activity stayed strong. A total of 63,826 bonds were exchanged, with a total value of 594.88 million francs CFA. One particular issue dominated, a 10-year government bond paying 5.90% interest, maturing in 2030. It represented more than 78% of weekly trading, with 53,705 bonds exchanged for a total value of 505.5 million francs CFA. This proves investors are still flocking to this bond, widely seen as one of the most liquid in the market. For you, this shows that bonds can offer both stability and liquidity, two major advantages when you want flexibility in your portfolio. So, what lies ahead for the week of September 15th to 19th? First, the textile sector will remain in the spotlight. After such an impressive rally, investors will watch closely to see whether momentum continues or if profit taking brings some pullback. Next, construction and materials remain a key sector to watch, supported by infrastructure development across the region. For investors, this sector is closely tied to real economic growth and could deliver fresh opportunities. And finally, chemicals. With regional demand holding up, this sector has the potential to surprise again. As always, I'm not mentioning specific stock names here. Those are reserved for Daba Pro subscribers, who get exclusive recommendations every week. To wrap up, the BRVM had another positive week with the main indexes rising, standout performances in textile, chemicals, and construction, but also some sharp drops, reminding us of the need for caution. The lesson for investors is simple. Stay informed, stay diversified, and watch the signals the market gives you. And remember, with Daba Pro, you get weekly recommendations, in-depth analysis, and reduced fees on your investment. With Daba Pro, you don't just follow the markets, you get ahead of them. That's all for today's episode. Thanks for listening to the Daba Markets Talk podcast. We'll be back tomorrow with another update. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave a rating, follow us, and share with friends. Remember, this information is for educational purposes. Always do your own research or consult with a financial advisor before making investment decisions. And download the Daba app on your app store to start investing in African stocks, bonds, and manage portfolios through your phone and find other helpful content. Until next time, keep learning and keep growing your financial knowledge.